Okay, ladies and gentlemen, next I would like to introduce Renāte Strazdiņa from Microsoft, who will be talking about AI and big data. Thank you.
Good morning, I want to start with one disclaimer. So I will not add in my presentation more darkness in the story of artificial intelligence, because most probably this is because of my past. I'm just a regular doctor of computer science. I read the same books mentioned in the previous presentation, but somehow I developed a little bit different vision of what does it mean and how artificial intelligence can help. And one more thing that I want to tell at the very, very beginning, and I truly believe that this is something that we all need to understand. Technology, any technology, also including artificial intelligence, is neither bad or good. Technologies are developed by people and they are developed for people. Of course, there are many, many dimensions, and I will cover a couple of them during my presentation that we need to think about. Both those that are developing technology, and I'm representing one of them, and those that are using technology. Also, users need to be mindful about where and how use different technologies. And one more interesting thing that appeared today while I was listening previous two presentations was that there are really major changes in our society, because I couldn't imagine that 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, I would be part of a scientific conference for lawyers. As I told, I'm just a regular computer science person. And this means that we all are changing, and we need to discuss more, because we have a lot of topics that we need to discuss and understand both sides. And sometimes especially when we start to talk about health and health industry, then it's one more area where we all three, I think, need to sit together and discuss how we should live further. But I want to start with a short explanation so that we are on the same page, all of us. So when we are talking about artificial intelligence nowadays, because technology is still developing, it just recently came out from science laboratories. That's why we have so many questions. And if we compare those decision support systems that previous presenter mentioned, and even expert systems, these were like super basic rule-based artificial intelligence systems. Nowadays we are talking about totally different things. And why it is so? Because we have vast amount of data, digitalized data, and we have vast amount of computing power. And this allows us to use these first products, first applications of artificial intelligence. And when I am talking about artificial intelligence, I mean vision, computer vision. It means that computer can recognize people, can recognize cars, can recognize those cars who are driving too fast, and other objects. The second thing is speech. So it means that computers can listen and understand what we are talking. Third is language. We are talking more and more about how artificial intelligence can actually help to understand each other, even for those who are not talking the same language. And the third part is knowledge. This is about computers being able to reason and to act based on the conclusions that are based on data. So this is what I understand and what Microsoft understands when we are talking about artificial intelligence. And when we are looking at applications nowadays where artificial intelligence solutions are used, we can say that in education, we can help those kids with disabilities to read, to see, to hear, and really be part of education process. We are talking about healthcare and precision medicine that is also based on artificial intelligence solutions. It is possible to people remove from so-called 3D jobs or dull, dirty, and dangerous. Also, we are seeing this as a really good development. And of course, also, artificial intelligence can make our lives easier and safer. When we are talking about transportation, and already I mentioned the example of speed cameras, this is pure computer vision solution that we have on our roads in many, many countries, also including Latvia. And also agriculture as a part of artificial intelligence helps actually find the optimum of resources that are needed to grow more food at the end of the day. One of the projects that we have in our portfolio is so-called Farm Beats. But what artificial intelligence really does here, it's about by using drones and computer vision, it helps to analyze conditions like moisture, soil temperature, and other things to improve the production process. Especially, this is important in areas where climate is very difficult to use this for food production. I already mentioned health, and this is one of the, I would say, most controversial areas, because this is about saving and preserving human rights and our individual private rights to not disclose data about us. On the other hand, we know that by sharing and by allowing at least some circumstances, we can help ourselves and also others. That precision medicine also is one of the areas where artificial intelligence is used very broadly. And here is one example of how prediction of diseases in areas where, for example, like malaria is possible to get. So blood from mosquitoes are collected to understand what are the potential risks for specific disease in specific area. And third one example is actually from Latvia. And this is about, as I'm calling, chicken factories, but this is Baltikovo case. Most probably those that are living in Latvia know this enterprise. And actually they are helping with artificial intelligence and computer vision solutions. They are checking whether all not eggs, but chicken are fed in appropriate level, because people can see like first levels, but those chicken that are upstairs, they cannot really see. And here, artificial intelligence and computer vision comes in and really checks whether everybody is well enough in this place. But it's not this is not only about nice things. These are nice things. There are also a lot of concerns that are raised about artificial intelligence, and these are, I would say, fundamental questions that we need to discuss as a society and also as a professionals. And this is about data security, privacy concerns, loss of control, not enough transparency, and biases. So, but as I told, technology is neither good nor bad. It's about us, people who are developing and using technology. How we see in Microsoft, there are 6 main principles that need to be taken into consideration when we are talking about artificial intelligence. And the first one is fairness, second one, reliability and safety, privacy and security, inclusiveness, and as a horizontal 2 layers, it's accountability and transparency. And I will cover all of them in a short. So first of all, fairness. As I told, artificial intelligence solutions are as clever, as biased or non-biased as data that are used for training these algorithms. So it is as simple as it sounds. On the other hand, artificial intelligence solutions are trained by using historical data. It means that if we have in the past, the best example that is always used in managerial positions, when there is a recruitment algorithm finding the right candidates, because of the previous historical data, you will find that more male candidates will be suggested as a good one than female. And this is about bias that we as a developers of the algorithm, we need to think about and we need to be very careful about. Also about dark-skinned people, and this is our Microsoft example, when at one point we understood that Microsoft Kinetics, so also Xbox, the same gaming platform, unfortunately this device and algorithm on this device couldn't recognize properly darker-skinned females and male. It was discovered, and then the changes in data sets that were used for training were also changed. But there are these situations, there will be these situations, and that's why we as humans, we need to control and really check whether bias is taken off. Second one, reliability and safety. And again, I will go back to training data. Also about autonomous cars. Again, these are situations where we need to think as a developers of algorithms what data are used. This is the first thing. Second thing is that there should be tests. When we are talking about software testing, it's like normal process of software development. But when we are talking about artificial intelligence, we are talking about different type of tests. We need to understand whether in all the situations where we as humans would act differently, this system works as planned, as needed, expected. We need to monitor this performance of the systems, and there should be human in the loop. And this is how we also can eliminate these horror stories that we are watching in the movies, where artificial intelligence is taking over our planet. It's if we are using the right data sets and we are really controlling them, I cannot see how this can happen in near future. Privacy and security. This is one of the most, I would say, again, controversial topics when we are talking about artificial intelligence, because in order to get these systems better and better, we need more and more data. Where we are getting data? From us, individuals. Even these are companies, at the end, there are people, there are individuals behind it. Health, where health industry, where we can get a lot of advantages from using artificial intelligence systems. Again, we need personal data, very sensitive personal data. And there is the question how we can really ensure that there is full transparency of where individuals' data are used, in which scenarios, in which algorithm, and also there should be a clear system, also technologically, how to promote both privacy and security, so that no one can get access to data if they are not allowed to do this. Inclusiveness. This is, as I mentioned about education and how artificial intelligence can help, for example, for kids with dyslexia to really start to read. This is where technology vendors or developers also need to be very thoughtful about that every solution needs to have this inclusiveness component. Here we are talking about user experience. There we can talk about interfaces that are used for human interaction, and this can help really use artificial intelligence in the right way and for human good. Transparency. If we will have access to the algorithms and we will understand how data are processed, how these algorithms are trained, how exactly decisions are made in the system, I would say there will be less myth and assumptions how this really works. And this is, again, this is from technology developers' side, to be ready to show and disclose artificial intelligence algorithms to those that are interested in that. Accountability. One more principle that is also really important, and here this is about developers, designers, coders, testers. And there are even discussions in IT industry that developers maybe, in the same way as doctors are saying that they will work only for human good, that those developers that are working in artificial intelligence area, they will do something similar. I don't know how this will turn out, but from my perspective, I would say that at least ethical component in computer science curriculum, component that you are discussing today, human rights, some perspective from legislation definitely should be added into curriculum. Because otherwise we are living in two different planets. You are thinking about IT people that they are doing something strange, and we do not understand why lawyers are asking those questions. So I think this is something where education system can really help. If we are talking about how to do this evaluation, then there are 3 simple questions that you can ask when you are talking about artificial intelligence system. So what is system purpose? So whether this system will really augment human abilities or this is something else. So the second question is about technology capabilities. So this is about whether this technology can really perform those tasks that are that the system should do. And the third one is about quality and reliability. Whether this technology really will help to ensure all the principles, all the 6 principles that I was mentioning before. Because we know that there are very sensitive questions when we are talking about artificial intelligence. This is about denial of services. For example, if banks mentioned also already in the first presentation, they do their scanning and say, no, you will not get this service. And at the end of the day, it's not true because maybe there was not full picture of data. Second is about risk of harm, and this is about those artificial intelligence solutions that are used in military. We know that there is ongoing debate. And the third one is personal freedom and privacy. We cannot restrict, because of systems, personal freedom or privacy. But I want to finish in 2 minutes with one video that will be about good part of artificial intelligence.
I'm Saqib Sheikh. I lost my sight when I was 7, and shortly after that I went to a school for the blind. And that's where I was introduced to talking computers, and that really opened up a whole new world of opportunities. I joined Microsoft 10 years ago as a software engineer. I love making things which improve people's lives. And one of the things I've always dreamt of since I was at university was this idea of something that could tell you at any moment what's going on around you.
I think it's a man jumping in the air doing a trick on a skateboard.
I teamed up with like-minded engineers to make an app which lets you know who and what is around you. It's based on top of the Microsoft Intelligence APIs, which makes it so much easier to make this kind of thing. The app runs on smartphones, but also on the Pivot Head smart glasses. When you're talking to a bigger group, sometimes you can talk and there's no response, and you think, is everyone listening really well, or are they half asleep? And you never know.
I see 2 faces, 40-year-old man with a beard looking surprised, 20-year-old woman looking happy.
The app can describe the general age and gender of the people around me and what their emotions are, which is incredible. One of the things that's most useful about the app is the ability to read out text.
Hello, good afternoon. Here's your menu.
Great, thank you. I can use the app on my phone to take a picture of the menu, and it's going to guide me on how to take that correct photo.
Move camera to the bottom right and away from the document.
And then it'll recognize the text. Read me the headings.
I see appetizers, salads, paninis, pizzas, pastas.
Hi. Years ago, this was science fiction. I never thought it would be something that you could actually do, but artificial intelligence is improving at an ever faster rate, and I'm really excited to see where we can take this. As engineers, we're always standing on the shoulders of giants, building on top of what went before. And in this case, we've taken years of research from Microsoft Research to pull this off.
I think it's a young girl throwing an orange frisbee in the park.
For me, it's about taking that far-off dream and building it one step at a time. I think this is just the beginning.
Yeah, so this is about us people who are developing technologies for other people, and I believe that we are smart enough to do really the best and to get best out of that. Thank you.
I think we can, before our coffee break, we can maybe field a few questions for both Igor and Renāte, if anybody is interested in asking any questions. No questions on AI? Yeah, Lisa.
Hi, thanks for both presentations. I was really interested about the behavioural biases aspects that you both touched on, and I sort of wonder what the challenge is and how we can overcome the fact that obviously we want to build these rational AI systems, but inherently we do have biases as individuals, so perhaps we won't like the outcome from a rational based algorithm in terms of when we overlay our own human biases onto that.
Would you like to, or Renāte? Yeah?
Thank you for the question. You know, I will comment from computer science point of view, and I would say this is really about data. Data that we are using, data that we have collected, and the problem can be that we do not have all the data. We have just those biased data, but because we are biased, we were not collecting third, second, and first point of view. And this is where the problem can be. But this is also for us as a developers and those that are using to understand that, okay, there is a situation where we need new data and then really systematically collect them and retrain the algorithm.
Igor, would you like to comment?
I would like maybe to refer back to presentations to first two speakers. The first one is that we get what society expects. That's number one. As I said exactly correctly, it's how you program the system. And just to give you, coming back to my example of the police force, I think society expects compassionate, also from the politicians and in law enforcement in general, compassionate people. You don't want cold-blooded police officers. That's what we typically don't want. But on the other hand, probably cold-blooded politicians or cold-blooded police officers would probably kill less innocent people. That probably be. There's a great book of I think it's a philosopher and cognitive science Paul Bloom, Against Empathy, and his it's elegant argumentation that empathy kills people. So rationality is not necessarily bad. I think why getting this artificial intelligence, I think we would struggle with our kind of internal desire to see humans, to get more empathy, to guess which is empathy is opposed to rationality. And again, rationality, which may create fairness and may not. It's society will determine actually rational behavior will create fairness, because some of those racial biases, for example, they can be justified based on historical data. So if you look from that perspective, they can be purely rational. But that's not what society wants. Society may want to have greater empathy, and then you need to overcome, as Renāte said, you need to overcome rationality. You need to kind of get again from historical bias and reframe the questions. And that's going to be always a human and a political process. And society will influence that. That will be not programmers, as Renāte says. It will be us who will make those decisions. And actually those decisions is not going to be made in 30 years. That's now being made now, shaping how artificial intelligence work, which biases we wanted to have and which not.
Thank you. Any follow-on questions? No? All right. Anna.
You mentioned that you compared engineers for artificial intelligence with doctors. So, however, doctors, medicine profession is a kind of very ancient profession, and they have certain ethics and oath. So, do you think that professionals that work with data or artificial intelligence should also be subject to some kind of oath or some kind of international, maybe ethical principles?
First of all, this is a really good question, and what can I say that there are already established ethical principles. The biggest technology vendors already formed like union or coalition that really works on that. This is a first thing. Second thing is that I agree, and I would even vote for and support the idea of oath, because this is something new. IT professions are developing all the time, really. And I can say that when I started my studies 20 years ago, it was totally different world, like I'm working right now. And also, I would say that curriculums need to be changed, not just in terms of newest technologies that we are very keen on, and we are doing this regularly, but we also need to add totally different dimensions. So it is a really complex question, and I'm happy that we have these conversations. I think we need to have them more.
Thank you. I think now we give a round of applause to our 3 morning speakers, and then we can have a coffee break. Thank you.